Crafty friends, Christina here with you from Sunny Day Memories. Happy Tuesday. So we are together again for Together on Tuesday to create a quick, easy project that is perfect for next week for Thanksgiving. I've made these several times in the past for holidays. I just always think it's perfect for Thanksgiving because it would make a great placeholder. You could actually stamp or you could handwrite the person's name and have it in front of each person's seat, and it would just be a fun little way to add your personal touch to it and also have a little treat because they are perfect for little Hershey Kisses in there. So today we're just gonna, instead of putting someone's name on there, we're just going to use the sentiment from, let's see, this Choose Happy stamp set here, and Choose Gratitude is what we're gonna stamp on there. And then I'm also using the Changing Leaves bundle. I used both the die here to create that fun stitched oblong shape there for the sentiment. And then I've also done the die cuts from it. So I did the 3 here, this one, and I'll get this final one so I can see. So I did those 3. So they were kind of the smaller ones of this set. So together I'm using those 2 sets. So the main piece that you will need for this is a standard, it's like a standard card front. It is 4 1/4 wide by 5 1/2 long. And then we are gonna go ahead and score it in 3 places. So we are gonna score it along the 5 1/2 inch section. And so if you are using the Stampin' Up! One, remember you're gonna be using the light gray because it's got light pressure, it's not going to cut through. And the first score line we're going to do is at 1 3/8. And so that is that large line right before the 1/2 inch mark. So I've got 1 3/8, then 2 3/4. And then our final one is at 4 1/8. So that is that large line right before the quarter. And then that goes ahead and it divides it into 4 equal parts, okay? So then that is the basis of the whole thing. So if you go ahead, you can take your bone folder and burnish those folds so you get nice crisp folds so it looks nice and professional. So we've got 3 of those lines. And like I said, then that creates 4 sections. And so what you're gonna be doing is you're just basically going to wrap it around on itself and glue it together so it creates like a tent shape. But we're not gonna actually do that till the very end. So we're going to go ahead and we're gonna decorate first. So I'm gonna call these different panels like 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we are gonna actually be decorating on this second panel because I like to bring my top one here, I like to bring that down and have that be what's glued so that the seam is nice and you're not having this open seam showing. It's a small detail, it doesn't really matter, but it's just how I tend to do mine. So then the pieces that I'm using to decorate it are, I'm using the pattern paper from the Iconic Celebrations paper. It's a 6x6 paper collection and I've just grabbed a few samples of it to let you see. There are more patterns in it, but it does really cover all of the different holiday celebrations that you would need throughout the year. So here's one side of the papers. If I flip it over, you've got some more bold paper patterns here. So it's a really fun collection. And so I am just using the plaid from it, the Pecan Pie plaid. It does have the pumpkins on the back. So I'm going ahead, this is actually a 4 inch by 1 1/8 inch piece. And I'm just using a piece of espresso that's 1/8 of an inch bigger. So it is 4 1/8 long and it's 1 1/4 tall. So we're just gonna simply adhere this on. And I just wanted to have a little bit darker trim around the ends, or the edges rather, so that it makes the pattern pop a little bit more. And then we're gonna go ahead and glue this onto, like I said, that second panel from the bottom. So you're leaving a little bit border of that pecan pie all the way around. And then I have another piece of that espresso, that early espresso. It is, again, 4 1/8 long, but it's only 1/2 inch wide or tall, however you want to look at that. And I just went ahead and I glued that right down that center. Just like this. Okay. Okay, so then we're gonna go ahead and do some stamping here. So let me grab, the 2 inks that I'm using are the Cajun Craze and the Crushed Curry. And so I'm having the Choose sentiment in the Crushed Curry. So the gratitude stands out a little bit more. So it's a little bit more dominant. So I'm gonna start with my Choose. And I'm gonna go a little bit over to the left here, left of center. So I've got my Choose. And then I'm gonna go ahead and open up my Cajun Craze. so that I can stamp the gratitude sentiment right next to that first one. And you could do them in the same color if you wanted to. I just really wanted the gratitude to stand out a little bit more. And I like that it's the two different fonts, so it just gives it a little bit of a fun look to it. All right, so before we go ahead and stick that down, we're gonna go ahead and layer our die cut pieces. And as you can tell, these are kind of delicate, so these would be a good one to do our two-sided adhesive sheets that you can go ahead and put on there before you die cut them, because then all you have to do is peel them off the back. But I also really think it's really easy to just use our silicone mat and a tape runner, because any excess tape is just gonna go ahead and be repelled from this mat, but it won't be stuck onto your die cut in places where you don't have any die cut. And so you don't need it on the whole thing, because as you can see from my sample, those die cuts hang off the top to kind of give more organic look. It does not stay right on this area. It just gives more motion by having it be a little bit larger. And so just keep that in mind if you've got something similar to what I'm doing. And actually I want to start with these more open ones first. So let me add these first before adding the more bold one. So I'm going to go ahead and add my Mossy Meadow leaf, and then I'm going to go ahead and do my crushed curry. Oops, am I out of adhesive? Let's see. Okay, I think I'm out of adhesive. Let me go ahead and just use a quick glue dot here then. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stick this down next to that one, and then right in the center of the two, I'm going to put this more full solid image. Okay, then I wanted to have this have some lift, so I'm going to go ahead and use our dimensionals. So I'm going to use 3 of them, one on each edge and one in the center. Take off the backings, and then I'm going to have that go right across that so it's centered. Actually, I just remembered a small little touch that you can do. If you wanted to pop just a little bit more, can you notice how there's a little bit of that early espresso around the shape of this? So what I did is I took the Stampin' Write marker. There is a bullet tip for writing, and then there's a brush tip for coloring. So I'm going to take the brush tip side, and I just rub that along the edge of my die cut, and then it picks up some color, so it makes it pop just a little bit more. And so it's just a subtle little touch, a subtle thing that you can do, but I think it does add a nice little extra touch to it. So you can choose to do it or not choose to do it. I tend to do this a lot of times, like when my project is looking a little bulky and I don't want to add an extra actual layer of cardstock. And so just by coloring it, it gives the illusion that I have another layer, even if I don't. And then I don't have that bulk with it, which is nice. So I'm going ahead and I'm centering it here across that strip. And then I'm going to finish it off by adding 2 of these adhesive back texture dots. So they come large and small. I'm going to be using the 2 large size. And I'm just going to kind of add them here on the ends. So it kind of just grounds the whole thing. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is, like I said, so this is just going to fold on itself. And so it can go either way. Like you can bring this last panel, this top panel, to the front and glue it like that, or you can have it go underneath. And like I was saying, I like this to be closed and smooth with that open seam to the back. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to glue my Hershey Kisses on this top one, this top panel here. I'm going to flip it over, and you could do glue dots is one way, or another fast way that you can do it. This is how I've been actually doing it lately, just because I find it just a little tad bit faster, is I do 2 rows of the tear and tape, and then I just go ahead and take off this backing, and then I can go ahead and just set the Hershey Kisses down so that it attaches to those 2 strips. And so I'm doing 1 toward the outside, and then 2 in the center here, making sure they get good contact. And so I know by doing it with the tape that I know that it gets really good contact versus using the glue dots. And so then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some of that tear and tape here on this panel here on the inside so that I can go ahead and glue that down. Put that. The second one just to make sure it holds. And you actually, as I'm putting down a second one, you don't really need a second one because you want them to be able to open it easily to get their Hershey Kisses. So there's no need to put 2 strips of it. So you just want to have it go flush up against the edges of that. And then it's sealed closed, and, oh, I wondered, I must not have picked up the little adhesive backing to this piece. That's why that won't stick. So let me just get a little glue dot to hold that. Oops. Stick it to the glue dot, pull it up, and stick it down. There we go. Okay, so now, I should probably lay it like that, maybe it's a lot easier to see. Now you've got this cute little treat holder that would, like I said, be perfect for putting someone's name, to be a placeholder for Thanksgiving, or you could use it for Christmas or for Valentine's Day, any of the holidays coming up. It's just a really cute idea. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and until next time, stay crafty.